Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
Doing great, Eric. Enjoying another fine day in August. How about you?
Yeah, we've got August heat. And last I saw, we've got a heat wave over most of the country. So everybody is dealing with higher than usual temperatures and humidity. And it's a little hard to want to get work done in weather like this, but you push through.
Yep. Still beats the winter.
Yes, it does. That's the one thing I always say about the heat. It may be difficult to deal with, but at least I don't have to shovel it.
That's right. Next time you put snow on the ground in February, remember today.
Right. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about sales. And most of us do not consider ourselves salespeople. But the fact is, almost everybody, no matter what your position is, whether you're an entrepreneur, an executive, you have sales as part of what you have to do. If you're looking for a job, you're selling yourself to potential employers. If you're working in a company and you're trying to make a proposal, for a project, you have to sell yourself and your project to your boss. If you're an entrepreneur, almost everything you have to do deals with sales because you need customers coming through the door. So whether or not we all have to dip our toe in more often than probably we're comfortable with. So today we're going to talk about making sales easier for the non-salesman.
Yeah, I like to use like a different term for sales. Sales is a dirty word for a lot of people. And it's really just a few bad people out there that give you the bad rap as far as pushy salespeople. But if you use the word development, so like for business development or employment development and so on and so forth, that's really what you're doing. Every business has to develop business, and sales is the way that they talk about it. But if you look at it in a different way, and another key word is if you change the S word sales to sharing, that's what you're doing. Because one of the keys that I know that we're going to talk about is talking benefits rather than commodities that you're selling. Because everybody cares about what's it going to do for you rather than what are you selling today, because we talk about it a lot that unless you're looking for something specific today, you're not going to be interested unless you are looking for something specific. But you do like to hear about the benefits of things out there, and that's a whole lot more likely to, at some point in time, get you to want to buy it.
That's absolutely right. And what you're talking about using terms like business development and sharing, what we're really getting at is a shift in your mindset. Because yes, we've just gotten the word sales into a bad place. But sales is part of business and everybody needs to do it. And the first thing we need to do, especially as non-salespeople, is to shift our mindset to stop thinking of that as a dirty word, because that's really a major factor in what holds us back. Well, we associate sales with, the stereotypical used car salesman, and we don't want to be thought of like that. And it makes you feel a little dirty to do things like that. We have to shift our mindset. Because without sales, without customers, your business goes under. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, what you're trying to do, if you've put your business together correctly, or even if someone else owns the business and you work there, if you believe in what the company is doing, then you have to believe that you are helping your customers. Well, yeah. Sales is how you let them know that, yes, this is what we do. This is what's in it for you. This is how we can solve your problem. And that phrase is big for non-salespeople to embrace. What you're trying to do is solve people's problems.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you and I are both in the business services business. And I really like the word consultant because the bottom line is every consulting job that you or I do starts with a free consultation, which is just a series of questions that you ask people to get them to understand what you're doing, but also how you might help them out. So it's a really, really good thing for especially larger companies who are training their people to help people out on the phones and so on and so forth, is to kind of turn them more into consultants just to by getting them to ask the proper questions when they're talking to people. Because consulting, basically what you're doing is you're giving people free information about the benefits of what you're doing just by asking questions. So if you look at that initial session with people as really an assessment where you're going to be offering free consulting services for benefits, that's a great way to take the first step there.
That's absolutely right. And it's not even just that first meeting, especially if you're in customer service, if you're an account executive, anywhere that you are servicing a client, you need to understand that client. And to do that, you're asking questions to figure out exactly what that problem is, but you're also figuring out how to solve it. And when you're dealing with someone on a regular basis, you know, they may have signed up with your company for a specific service or product, but over the course of time, as you're getting to know what it is they do, what it is they need, you're in a position to say, wait a minute, you know, you're getting great results with this, but there's still these outstanding problems. We've got other things that we can talk about that'll help you out with those. And I mean, it's in sales terminology, it's called an upsell. But again, what you're really doing is trying to make yourself invaluable to your client. Or actually, I should rephrase that because, and I actually just wrote an article about that. You're actually not trying to make yourself invaluable. You are trying to put yourself out of business because you want to solve their problem. If they no longer have that problem, ostensibly they won't need that service anymore. However, no business ever has all their problems go away. So when you get rid of one, there's always another way to help that client.
And one of the benefits, as far as that goes, if you do solve the problem, when you are training your people who are not the salespeople, is once they've solved that problem for you, even though you don't need it anymore, it's a great opportunity for you to ask for referrals to somebody else who could use this same type of help. So that is one of the ways to leverage what you're doing once you have a satisfied client, is to ask for referrals for somebody else.
Right. And yeah, I know for a lot of people, asking for referrals is uncomfortable. And it goes back to that mindset switch we have to do where sales stops being a dirty word. But if you're not comfortable asking for referrals, think of it another way. Ask for introductions. Essentially say, you know, we've been working on this problem. You know, a lot of folks, if you know people that have similar problems, I would love an introduction to them because maybe we can help them too. So you're shifting that mindset away from asking for the sell, and you're focusing on the problem solving aspect of it. I find for a lot of folks, myself included, because I am definitely not a salesperson, it makes it a lot easier asking to meet somebody. You know, if you happen to know somebody that fits these criteria, I'd love to talk to them. And
Yeah.
you're not asking for a sale. I also find it makes the customer more likely to help because he now doesn't feel like he's trying to sell for you. He's just trying to introduce people.
Yeah, and another real good one that I came up with uh, is the old ask for help scenario. And the bottom line is, this is for people who are uncomfortable or kind of new doing what they're doing and so on and so forth. If you just lay it out on the line that you're brand new, and you can say basically that you're a little bit nervous about what you're doing right now, about getting sales and so on and so forth, and enlist their help in explaining their needs or in helping you out with that. If you put them in a position where they're the ones that are really helping you out, and yet you're the one trying to get the sales, that's a great way to turn the tables around and help yourself out. As far as you can even get bold enough in saying if they'd be willing to be your first sale. I have never got a sale before. And the bottom line is if you have a fun personality and you can read the person on the other side of the phone, it's a great way to break the ice. And in a lot of ways, you can get a new customer that way.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way to do it. It tends to make people more comfortable. Again, that anti-sales mindset is so important to overcome. And all of these things are ways to work around that. But also the way you're trying to sell. When you're not a salesperson, you tend to default back to sales 101 essentially and be a salesperson. But if you're not comfortable doing that, that comes out. And the potential customer is not comfortable with it. So you need to find ways that you are comfortable with. And one of the great things you can do if you are working with customers is to actually write down how you are helping your existing customers. And I'm not talking about listing, well, I do these 8 things for my customers. Do it as a story. Focus on one customer and write down their story, what the problem they were having is, how you were able to help, what kind of results they got after you helped. And then use that story and tell that story to potential clients. Because now you're just sharing information. You're sharing what happened in this situation. It's a lot less salesy. It's a lot easier for most of us to do. And it also gives concrete examples of what's in it for them, which, let's face it, that's what every potential client wants to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can just ask your customer open-ended questions about what they like about your products and then write down the answers for that, obviously it's going to give you a little bit more confidence in doing what you're doing. It gives testimonials about what you're doing to other clients as you were talking about. And the bottom line is the more questions that you can ask people to get them to answer it. And it's the same thing in networking. The best way, even if you're shy, to start a networking relationship is just to ask somebody a question. Hello, how you doing today? And let them talk. Because one of the things people love to do the most is just talk. And if you have them actually, again, helping you out just by answering questions about what you're doing for them and that kind of thing, that works magic, especially when you're talking about the benefits of them doing business using your products.
Yes, and keep asking questions. Expert salespeople know this, that they know that they need to be asking and letting the customer talk more than they're talking. They need to be able to get as much information as possible from the customer. So let them lead you. Ask the questions, and don't be afraid that asking too many questions makes it look like you don't know what you're doing. Quite the contrary. It makes it so that you're not taking them for granted and you are working to learn exactly what they need before you're deciding, oh, well, this is what's right for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the phrase offering the fries. How many times have we gone to restaurants, especially fast food and stuff like that, and you order your burger or whatever, and they say, "Would you like French fries with that? How about a milkshake?" Basically, it's a form of upselling, but it increases the price tag of what you're doing. And really, the best way to train for this in whatever business that you're doing